Execution of Wendell Grissom, a life marked by trauma and crime. Imagine a life spiraling out of control, a confluence of tragic events leading to an irreversible act. Today, we delve into the case of Wendell Grissom, a man whose life story is as complex as it is disturbing, and whose fate now rests in the hands of the state of Oklahoma. Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Oklahoma is poised to execute Wendell Arden Grissom by lethal injection. This act marks a grim milestone, the first execution in Oklahoma this year and the 9th in the United States. The air is thick with anticipation and dread as the clock ticks down. Grissom was convicted of the heinous 2005 murder of Amber Matthews. This crime has cast a long shadow, leaving behind a trail of grief and unanswered questions. The impending execution has reignited the debate surrounding capital punishment. Grissom's attorneys are making a desperate plea, arguing that his developmental issues should preclude the death penalty. They paint a picture of a man whose cognitive abilities were compromised, impacting his capacity for rational decision-making. Is this a mitigating factor that should spare him from the ultimate punishment? Prosecutors, however, stand firm, asserting that Grissom should be held accountable for his choices. They emphasize the gravity of his crime and the devastating impact it had on the victims and their families. Justice, they argue, demands retribution. November 3, 2005, a date etched in infamy. Wendell Grissom and Jesse Johns hatched a plan to burglarize homes, a decision that would irrevocably alter the lives of many. Their target, Drew Kopp's house near Watonga, Oklahoma. Drew Kopp was home that day with her 2 young daughters and Amber Matthews. The scene was set for a tragedy of unimaginable proportions. Innocence and vulnerability were about to collide with violence and malice. Grissom shot his way into the house, shattering the peace and security of the home. The sound of gunfire echoed through the rooms, signaling the beginning of a nightmare. Fear gripped the hearts of those inside. Kopp was struck in the wrist by a bullet, but she bravely fought back, jumping on Grissom. Her courage in the face of danger is a testament to the strength of a mother's love. But the situation was spiraling out of control. Matthews, in a desperate attempt to protect the children, ran with Kopp's 5-week-old into a bedroom, joining Kopp's 19-month-old daughter. The room became a sanctuary, a fragile shield against the encroaching violence. Hope dwindled with each passing second. Grissom shot Kopp in the head and hip, leaving her critically wounded. The brutality of his actions is shocking and incomprehensible. The scene was one of chaos and terror. Matthews was then shot in the back of the head and then the forehead as she held one of the girls. Her selfless act of protecting the children cost her life. She died at the scene, a victim of senseless violence. Kopp miraculously survived after escaping and receiving hospital treatment. Her survival is a testament to her resilience and the skill of the medical professionals who cared for her. But the emotional scars would remain forever. Grissom and Johns fled in Kopp's husband's 4-wheeler, leaving behind a scene of devastation. Their escape was short-lived, however. Justice was closing in. They were arrested at a nearby cafe after being reported by vigilant citizens. The community rallied together to ensure that the perpetrators were brought to justice. The wheels of justice began to turn. Amber Matthews, described by her father as the apple of my eye, was more than just a victim. She was a daughter, a friend, and a vibrant soul whose life was tragically cut short. Her memory deserves to be honored. She was his daughter and best friend, a bond that transcended the ordinary. Her loss has left an unfillable void in his life. The pain of her absence is a constant reminder of the injustice she suffered. Her death caused immense pain and grief to her family, a wound that may never fully heal. They are left to grapple with the senselessness of her murder and the enduring impact it has on their lives. Their grief is a testament to the profound love they shared. Born in 1968 in Arkansas, Wendell Grissom's life was marked by hardship from the very beginning. His early experiences may have played a significant role in shaping his future. Understanding his background is crucial to comprehending the complexities of his case. He suffered oxygen deprivation during birth, a traumatic event that may have had lasting consequences. This early adversity could have contributed to his developmental challenges. The impact of this event cannot be ignored. He experienced developmental delays and speech difficulties, hindering his ability to communicate and interact with the world around him. These challenges may have led to frustration and isolation. His struggles were evident from a young age. Emotional and behavioral problems plagued him in school, further isolating him from his peers. His difficulties in the classroom may have been indicative of deeper underlying issues. The school environment was not conducive to his needs. Multiple motorcycle accidents exacerbated his cognitive issues, compounding the challenges he already faced. These accidents may have caused further brain damage, impacting his ability to think clearly and make sound judgments. The physical trauma took a toll on his mental state. His first accident occurred at age 8, requiring 18 stitches. This early experience with trauma may have had a lasting impact on his psyche. The scars, both physical and emotional, ran deep. Further accidents followed at ages 15 and 16, each one adding to the cumulative damage. The repeated head trauma likely contributed to his cognitive decline. The cycle of accidents and injuries continued. He was forced to withdraw from school due to physical and cognitive difficulties, cutting off his access to education and opportunities for personal growth. This setback further limited his prospects and contributed to his sense of hopelessness. The path to a better future was blocked. He moved from Arkansas to Texas at age 16, seeking a fresh start, but carrying with him the baggage of his troubled past. The change of scenery did little to alleviate his underlying issues. The move was a desperate attempt to escape his demons. Grissom committed several home invasions in Texas before 2005, indicating a pattern of criminal behavior. These acts suggest a disregard for the law and the safety of others. His actions were escalating. He was convicted of robbery in 1993 and sentenced to 25 years, a significant period of incarceration. This conviction should have served as a deterrent, but it failed to change his path. The prison walls did not contain his destructive tendencies. He was paroled in 2001 after serving 9 years, a decision that would later be questioned. His release allowed him to re-enter society, but he was ill-prepared to navigate the challenges of freedom. The parole system failed to rehabilitate him. He married a fellow truck driver in Arkansas shortly after meeting her, a relationship that was fraught with difficulties. Their shared struggles with addiction and mental health issues created a volatile environment. The marriage was doomed from the start. Both struggled with heavy drinking and addiction to Adderall and meth, further destabilizing their lives. Substance abuse fueled their destructive behaviors and impaired their judgment. The cycle of addiction spiraled out of control. He was prescribed medication for depression, headaches, and anxiety, highlighting his underlying mental health issues. These medications may have provided some relief, but they were not a panacea. The medications masked the deeper problems. He was arrested in December 2004 for threatening his wife with a rifle, a clear indication of his violent tendencies. This incident should have been a red flag, a warning sign of the potential for future violence. The threat was a harbinger of things to come. He voluntarily entered a residential program for chemical dependency, a step in the right direction, but ultimately insufficient. The program may have provided temporary relief, but it failed to address the root causes of his addiction. The treatment was not enough. He was described as depressed and suicidal in the months leading up to the murder, suggesting a profound sense of despair. His mental state was deteriorating rapidly. The warning signs were there, but they were not heeded in time. Grissom confessed to the crime, but claimed it was a mistake, a statement that offers little solace to the victims and their families. His confession provided some closure, but it did not diminish the gravity of his actions. The confession was a mere formality. His lawyers argued against the death penalty due to developmental issues, presenting a compelling case for leniency. They argued that his cognitive impairments diminished his culpability. The legal battle was fierce. Prosecutors argued that Grissom made choices that led to the crime, emphasizing his responsibility for his actions. They maintained that he was fully aware of his actions and should be held accountable. The prosecution sought the ultimate punishment. The Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board denied clemency, sealing his fate. Their decision reflected the community's outrage and the desire for justice. The board's decision was met with mixed reactions. Grissom expressed a lack of fear of death, viewing it as an escape, a chilling statement that reveals his profound sense of hopelessness. His acceptance of his fate is unsettling. Death, to him, was a release. The Attorney General argued that the crime warranted the death penalty, emphasizing the heinous nature of his actions. The Attorney General's stance was unwavering. Justice demanded retribution. His final hope for a stay of execution lies in federal courts or the Supreme Court, a long shot but not entirely impossible. The legal battle continues, but the odds are stacked against him. The clock is ticking. The execution of Wendell Grissom raises profound questions about justice, culpability, and the role of trauma in shaping human behavior. We must ask ourselves, does the death penalty truly serve justice, or does it perpetuate a cycle of violence? Take action now. Educate yourself. Research the death penalty and its impact on society. Contact your representatives. Urge them to support legislation that abolishes the death penalty. Support organizations. Donate to groups working to end capital punishment and advocate for criminal justice reform. Share this video. Help spread awareness and spark meaningful conversations about this critical issue. Engage in dialogue. Discuss the complexities of this case with friends, family, and community members. Let us strive for a more just and compassionate world, one where we seek to understand the root causes of crime and work towards solutions that promote healing and rehabilitation rather than simply retribution. The life of Amber Matthews and the troubled life of Wendell Grissom demand nothing less.